We decided this morning to have a current affairs debate about Moldova and not about the Lachin corridor because we want to have a report in June. But I would like to ask you about the situation. There were several colleagues to discuss about it. So how is the situation? What are the concerns? What can we do? How we can prevent a humanitarian crisis in the region?
Thank you, Frank. Madam Secretary General.
Thank you for this question. And as you say, I can only share the concern of you and all those who have raised this issue, because the establishment of Azerbaijani checkpoint on the Lachin corridor that already was questionable how free movement was going through that corridor is certainly a further deterioration of the situation in that area, and it certainly does not help confidence building and reducing tensions. I have made my point clear in December when the Lachin corridor was at the first blocked, and I can only restate what I said there. So it's I call for need to restore the free movement along the Lachin corridor, and in the meantime we also have the court that issued a related interim measure. So there is even further down the road more reason to free and not to go into the other direction in the Lachin corridor. So I can only say that it needs to be freed because it was already questionable, the situation of humanitarian and other issues. And with this situation, when it's completely blocked, I think that goes beyond imagination how the situation of people living in that area is. On the other side, I would really like to call on both sides, because both sides have been recently meeting each other, talking at a very high level, and were committing to work on peace in the region. So I can only, coming from this position, from this institution that was so many times today mentioned, how it started, what is the first articles of our statutes, that we are peace organization, so we can only call for our member states to restore peace. And let me remind one thing, that back in the history where the two countries were admitted to the Council of Europe, they're both accepted to work on seeing the resolution to their issues in a peaceful manner. So I can only call and recall that promise that has been made back in time. And of course, needless to say, this is something I always reiterate, we need possibility for all our Council of Europe bodies to be able to go to all areas covered by our member states, so including this one. And I hope, and I know that some of the bodies wanted to go there to have first-hand information, because what we heard from one or the other side was contradictory. And I think the best way to bridge that issue, what is really going on there, I think would be to allow our bodies that can be, our Commissioner for Human Rights can be PACE delegation, but someone probably should finally be able to go there and assess the situation and inform of the real issues. And I can only call for that. It has not been the case for now quite a while that our bodies were not allowed to go there, and I hope that this will change, because this is the only way how we can really have an impact and how we can really have a good decision after that, if we know what is really a situation at stake in that area.
Thank you, Madam Secretary General. Next question comes from Madam Elvira Kovac from Serbia on behalf of the EPP Group. Elvira, you have 30 seconds.